Hello. I'll get rid of my phone, that's a good start.
1, 2, 3.
What do you want to talk about?
Am I talking to you?
Do you want to sing now?
1, 2, 3, 4. God, you didn't say 10.
That's the coffee maker, yeah.
1, 2, 3.
You got it.
My name is Damon Britton and I'm the director on the short film Obsession.
And I am the producer of Obsession.
I'm the writer.
Cinematographer.
Production designer.
Costume designer.
Wine producer.
I'm the grip.
The runner.
I'm a runner.
Yeah, production runner.
Makeup designer.
I'm playing Jasmine in Obsession.
Let's turn over, please.
Sounds good. 62.
Okay, we're standing by shoot.
My inspiration is to be a filmmaker or just be in this industry. You know, I get asked the question a lot, what's your favourite movie? And I would have to say Back to the Future, purely because that's the movie when I was a kid. At the age that I'm at, I was waiting for 2 and 3 to come out, and as how old was I then? A 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, what was a year and a half, in reality it seemed like an absolute eternity.
I was like obsessed with films when I was younger. My mum's best friend, I remember coming home from school one day and she had, and this was like fucking miraculous back then, she'd put Back to the Future 1 and 2 onto like one cassette tape, like video cassette. And like it's amazing how she she would have like hooked up like 2 video recorders. I still don't really know how she did it back then. But around back then, my mum just gave me notes and was like, oh, because like mum knew I loved Back to the Future, and I wore that tape out. It was so bad that one summer, mum had to hide it because she thought that I was in the house watching Back to the Future too much. I would watch it every day.
One take one.
When I was a kid, I always loved films, like from being tiny. Wizard of Oz.
The A-Team.
The American Werewolf in London.
Edward Scissorhands.
Con Air, like one of those things when you're a kid and like you wake up in the middle of the night, you put the TV on. I remember this film, I was in the middle of the night, it was probably like 10 o'clock at night or something like that. And Con Air was on. I remember watching it and it's like put the bunny back in the box and all this wicked cinematic stuff that we were doing. It was a great film.
I've always loved film, you know, right from being a young child, that kind of Sunday afternoon movie with my parents, and there was some kind of old Hollywood movies and all that sort of Katharine Hepburn and those kind of actors I just absolutely loved, mesmerised me.
When I was growing up, I used to have this big cardboard box, and then my mum used to always help me because she knew every time she ran out of kitchen roll or any time we finished a cereal packet, I'd put all these empty boxes, like tissue boxes and everything, would go in this big box, and that'd be my box, my make and do box, and I'd like make things out of it. Good? Doing all right?
My grandmother used to own a cinema, and my mum used to clean the cinema in there for my gran, and I used to kind of sit in the projection room, and I used to just get to see films all the time, and it was just kind of the excitement, and that's probably where kind of wanting to produce and be behind the scenes comes from. I went to high school just up the road, John Spence Community High School, and it's like not rough, but it's like it was fairly rough when I was going there, and it was quite rough in the immediate area. And I think you're kind of like forced into like feeling like you have to kind of conform to be like certainly as a male as well. I think you feel like you kind of have to conform to being like a certain way in high school. You know, I'd have the Berghaus and the Lacoste shoes and everything, and trying to be a bit of a chava when I kind of wasn't really.
I kind of thought for a long time that writing was something that other people did. It's kind of like saying I want to be an astronaut. It was like, well, it's a nice idea and I get it, but I'm never going to achieve it, so why bother, kind of thing. But yeah, I got to a point in life where I wanted a change of direction from nursing, and I thought, I'm gonna see if I can be a writer. It's very, very hard. It's a very hard slog. But if you know it's you, if you know that that's your kind of destiny, if you like, then it doesn't matter how hard it is, you won't give up.
I think it was when I went to college, and straight away I was like just surrounded by like-minded people who wanted to be actors or filmmakers, or and you're just like surrounded by all these people, and you're like, all right, cool, so I don't have to like be ashamed to say that I want to be creative.
When I was very little, my parents had to work a number of jobs just to allow us to be able to live where we lived. So my mum worked 5 jobs and my dad worked 2, and that barely allowed us to scrape together the mortgage payments and put food on the table. So my brother and I didn't have any toys, so we would play make-believe. So we were able to make the stories up that we played. So from a very young age I've been telling stories.
I just think it is important because I think this is how humanity evolved, you know. I think this is how we teach each other, how we communicate with each other, is through stories. And so yeah, and film is just the most, you know, most up-to-date iteration of that, you know.
Okay, nice and still everywhere, please. When we're set. And action. And cut there, thank you.
Very nice.
Thoughts?
Very nice indeed. Very happy. It's important as we get older. Something I did a while back, I closed the door to my own imagination as I grew up and took on responsibilities and had families. And then when my son was quite young, started doing kind of story time and started playtime with him and stuff. And it tapped into what I used to have an incredibly vivid imagination when I was a kid. And my son allowed me to tap back into that, and I think entertainment is a huge part of what we need. There's a lot of life can be quite difficult, quite tough for a lot of people, and I do like the idea of escapism. I used to go to the cinema when I was a kid. I used to watch movies when I was a kid, and I could spend an entire summer holidays just watching film, and just being completely taken away by the story. And it's kind of what I've always dreamt of being able to do is give people, I know in this case it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of escapism. The dream, I guess, was to create something that gives people like a 2-hour window of escape. Lovely choice.
I think because film you can create anything, any sort of story that can actually impact on anybody's lives, frankly. So, you know, one person might not like one film, but it will speak to another person. So at some point, anybody will find film is relevant to them. So I think you can just touch so many people's lives with different films.
You can make a world in a film, and that's really, you can make a whole, you can create anything in a film. It's a form of entertainment that's completely accessible to everybody.
Story is often a way that we can connect with people in ways that maybe you can't connect in other ways. So information that maybe we need to tell somebody, if we just told them as pure information, maybe facts and figures, doesn't always register with people. But by wrapping that information in a story and adding an emotional component to it, that resonates on a different level.
Set and action.
You're taking the fucking piss. You laugh behind my back.
Cut there, lovely.
And we've cut there, thank you.
This story is about the breaking point, I think, that we all have. I think we're all capable of very lovely things and very horrible things, and it very much depends on what happens to us as to what we do in life. We're all capable of breaking, we're all capable of doing things that sit outside, you know, our normal realms of behaviour, and I wanted to explore that. So this film is about one person's breaking point, really, and what it takes to push her to that breaking point and turn her from a normal lady into something incredibly unexpected.
this role, when Debbie showed me the script, I was like, yes, definitely straight away. I think particularly for me as a disabled actor, I struggle to get into castings for character roles. I'd usually get called in when shows I want to explore a disability issue or a medical problem, and it just becomes so tedious and boring. I'm always crying out to play a character. So it was really exciting to be presented a script where disability wasn't even mentioned. I knew it was a chance to play a female character that anyone could play, but also I knew I would get the opportunity as a disabled actor to hopefully bring something quite unique to the project as well, and how I tell the story.
Set and action when you're ready.
So I think that the pressure that I felt on set with the topic of disability, we wanted to do kind of representation of a disabled character.
Going off all night. Why the fuck have I heard your phone going off all night? Why the fuck is Lisa messaging you all night? Shut the fuck up!
Time after time we see disabled characters being played as victims, and that's not what this story's about.
I think the thing I loved about Jasmine was she was a strong character. She's a survivor, not a victim. We see someone from the most vulnerable to the most resilient and everything in between, and it's just a joy to have that opportunity as an actor to see where you can go and what you can express in all of that.
With I said to Morgan and Debbie when they brought me on board to direct, I was like, look, I've got in my head the kind of team that I want and the people that I want to collaborate with on this one, because it's a really important story to me and it's a really important film, and I was quite clear on who I wanted to work with, and then Morgan, during prep, Morgan, the producer, he mentioned that he'd always wanted to pursue acting and it was something he wanted to try, and he actually said, mate, can I audition for the role of Dave? And I was like, mate, of course you can. As soon as someone starts reading for you or performing for you, it's all about how open they are with you and how quickly they can just remove all the filters and just give just give it all.
So I've kind of done little bits of acting over the years, and I've really wanted to kind of push myself, and that's why I asked Damon and Deb and Kim whether I could possibly get the opportunity to play Dave. It was bloody tough working as a producer and flipping between being kind of a dispassionate producer that's looking at budgets and all the moving parts to like shutting yourself off and kind of going to that place that's in this particular piece really, really dark. It's really hard. I think if I was to do it alone, it would have been impossible.
Okay, when we're set.
Set.
Action.
Why did you do this? Why?
We've cut, thank you.
Nice, mate, nice.
There was one day filming that we did a really quite dramatic scene, and the next day I came onto set and went to the green room. A lot of people didn't see, it was a couple of people did see, but I went into the green room that we had, and I just broke down into tears. It's an absolute, I commend any actor that can kind of step away from a role after going to that place. It's really tough, and I didn't appreciate the discipline it was going to take to do that, and it would just kind of, that one day just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I just kind of, and I didn't know what was wrong. It was really weird. I came onto set and all kind of smiles and saying hello to people and stuff, and as soon as I went upstairs and I was by myself, I was just a takeaway.
So I'm happy. Are we reading? Yeah, you can see the hands there, couldn't we? Most of the shorts I've done have been like fairly light, I think. They haven't been as heavy as this. When you're the DOP, especially when you're camera operating as well, you're like the front line. You're like the thing between like the artists and the camera, or the audience, I guess. So you're right there when it's happening. I've been thinking about like how I'd feel about seeing someone, assault a woman like right in front of us. It isn't nice to say, it's all pretend and stuff, but it does make you think, fuck, some people actually genuinely go through this.
My background, I used to be a psychiatric nurse, so I've nursed many, many women who have been abused. Equally, I've nursed men who have been abusers. And the other way around, I've nursed women who have been abusers. So I have experience of that kind of field. So we know that it's not outside the realms of plausibility.
I think it's important to make film because everybody really deserves a voice of some sort. Everybody has a different perspective on the world, and visual storytelling, in my opinion, is one of the best ways that you can possibly do that.
Access to the arts are like incredibly important, and the extension of that is like, in terms of like for us as human beings, like we need art to kind of like help us like be, because I mean all art, but particularly film, it can be like a mirror to to our lives, and also like a window into like other people's lives, and I think unfortunately domestic abuse does happen. Domestic abuse, the specific type of abuse that happens in this film, which is an able-bodied man abusing a disabled woman, or the other way around, does happen.
Some projects people do purely because that's the job, that's the contract, and they do their job and they go home at the end of the day. But on this, people seem to have really bought into the concept and into Deb's script, and there just seems to be that extra something, and everyone is just working that extra little bit harder and pushing that extra 10% just to get this absolutely spot on, and yeah, there's just that extra little bit of buzz around, and there has been since the beginning.
And you can feel the passion for this project from every single person that's around. You can feel that everyone is taking so much pride in their work and wants this project to be wonderful, and that's just such an exciting environment to be around.
I mean, the team on this is just fabulous. I can't quite believe the talent that we've managed to get together. It seems to be a lot of the time it's because people have a great loyalty to the North East. So basically what we've done is pulled in a load of favours and said to people, do you want to come back and make a short film for BFI? And people have said yes.
The best thing about being on set is the crack. The crew, great lot of people who are all working together to create this amazing film. You're all in it for the same reasons, and you all want to produce something that looks fantastic, and you all help each other.
We're all in to try and make the best project possible. And we're making an important piece that will hopefully affect a lot of people's lives, or certainly open their eyes to the way some people have to live.
Some people will read a script and go, don't like it. Some people will read a script and say, I think it's great. And that's just the way it is. And you have to accept the fact that some people won't like what you do, and some people won't like your writing voice. Some people won't like your style. But, eventually you'll find someone who does, and they're the people that you hold on to. A lot of people fall by the wayside. If you can take it or leave it, because it's too hard. It's just too hard. But if you can't leave it, then it's for you. And if you know it's for you, you will just keep going no matter what.
No, I won't ever stop. I mean, it's in my DNA really, but it sounds a bit of a cliche, but you kind of have to be tenacious and not give up. And if there's something that you set your mind to, then just keep going. Be prepared to take the knocks, because you will get the knocks, but eventually you will get there.
You have to be sure that that's definitely exactly what you want to do, because if you're not sure, it's not the right job for you, definitely. So you need that passion, you need that drive, you need that determination, and you need the stamina. You know, it's hard work. Nobody's going to open doors for you. You have to be there. You have to have the talent and the drive to open those doors yourself.
It's been a long trek to get here, and I'd given up twice essentially, but knew in my heart that that's what I should be doing. I feel really privileged about the fact that I do what I've always wanted to do.
If everybody doesn't mind, we'll grab a quick crew photo out the front, and then that will be a wrap on Obsession. Thank you very much.
Just to be able to get to do stuff like this, man, it's an absolute blessing. Even if it was an absolute pile of shite, right? It's still an amazing 4 days, man. Like, why wouldn't you not just want to celebrate and embrace it? It's just such a gift to be able to for someone to give you money to go and make something with a bunch of people in the same kind of, in the same creative space, and just have a laugh together for a few days.
I think it's important to always be doing things that you don't. If you feel that little bit of unconfidence in your tummy, then it's I think it's really important to face it, and the feeling you get when you've challenged yourself and you've been a bit scared. There's nothing quite like that. I think that's why I love acting, because I'm always scared, really. I'm always like, I go to everyone, why did I say I could do this? Can I really do this? What was I thinking? And then you do it, and it's just the best feeling in the world.
I'm really excited with where I'm at. There's the constant frustration of I just want to do it again. I want to shoot something. I had a real lull after Obsession. I always do finish a short, and as soon as it wraps, I go outside or wherever I am, and I just kind of stand there for a pit. That's it then. Because I don't quite enjoy post-production. I like seeing it come together, but I just want it to be done. So I'm just looking for the next part. I want to do something next. What am I going to do? What's it going to be? Where am I going to go? Who am I going to speak to? Who's got a script? But I'm really, 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 really passionate about finding a low-budget feature or a micro feature, just something of a longer narrative that I can just, like my breakthrough piece. I'm just at a point where I just want a bigger challenge, and for me, a bigger narrative is a bigger challenge, because it's more to see, it's just a bigger palette. I can watch 10 minutes in my head over and over again. Could I sit, go to bed at night and watch an hour and a half, 2 hours in my head? I don't know, but I'd like the opportunity to find out. I'm Damon Britton, and I'm a filmmaker.
I'm Morgan, and I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
I am a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
We're filmmakers. It's quite cheesy, isn't it? We're filmmakers.